I'm Father Evil, and you're watching The Bitten Apple. Oh, funny, The Bitten Apple reminds me of a story.
Hey guys, it's CADMA from Bitten Apple TV here at Garden State Comic Fest, and it seems we have a book con person that we've been stalking for some cons here. Nicoline Evans. Oh, that is such a beautiful name. Your mom named you great, Mom. We have to have a talk. My God, you have a lot of books here. So which book do we start with?
Really, we can start with any. I guess we could kind of go in order. That might make it easiest. Awesome. So I have Haeman here. This is book 1 in what will eventually be a 9-book series. They're going to be standalone trilogies. So this is about a woman who thinks the trees are talking to her. She's like, that's crazy, no way. But as a bunch of supernatural things start unraveling around her, she realizes she might not be as crazy as she thought. So you kind of get to watch this nature dystopia sort of unravel. We got Field of Ashes, which would be book 2, and then there'll be a book 3. So right now I have AD and I went to a different series. So I need to get back to this one to finish it eventually.
Oh, thank God, because this poison ivy is a little concerned, like, what if the trees aren't talking back to me? But go on.
They are, yeah. So then over here is Nether Isle. This is my paranormal fantasy story about a boy that moves to a fishing village, gets caught up in a world of supernatural secrets and magic, and he's figuring out how it all works to save himself in the town. So this one's like a nautical, spooky, light versus dark, good versus evil, fun. I made a brand new magic system in this book, so this is fun. Yeah, so this is this one's pretty special. It's like commentary on like loneliness, so it has a lot of depth to it as well as the fun paranormal stuff. Yeah, so Evo the Elements is actually book 7 in the Haeman series, but I wrote it first, so I kind of did like a Star Wars deal where I went backwards and started like filling in the blanks. So Haeman is the origin story for Evo. So Evo is about humans evolving into the elements, so earth, fire, water, air. You follow the main character on a futuristic Alice in Wonderland-like adventure. While she's saving the planet, there's humans who haven't evolved still destroying it, so they live under this dome.
Very realistic.
It's very much, yeah, it's very much a social commentary in a fun fantasy world. So most of my stories are actually. So over here, my children's books, illustrated by Sunny Fiend. So super talented. She's done Blue Spots and Gray Spots with me. Blue Spots is about sadness and learning you're strong enough to get through tough times. So it's a hopeful story, a nice little positive message not to give up, and that your tough times can make you stronger, kinder, wiser. So to let them make you better, basically. And then Gray Spots is about fear and learning to be brave. So she follows a little girl that's helping a little boy that's being picked on and bullied. She teaches him to stand up for himself and not to let his fears define him. So nice little positive messages. And we're working on Purple Spots now. Yeah, Purple Spots will be about acceptance and loving people for who they are. So
very nice. I like how you slipped it in with the colors. I was wondering. Continue. Let's go down the line.
So Orwell is my nominee series. This is my high fantasy world building. Orwell is book 1. Christette is book 2. It's a prequel sequel. I'll explain that in a second. And then Okavis is book 3. I am currently writing book 4. Orwell is about a man made of stone who finds a heart made of glass. He's used to breaking things all the time, so he's not quite sure what to do with this fragile object. Decides to go on a quest to find the owner, but along the way learns that the heart might not have very good intentions for him. So a lot of danger, dark visions, magic. He's kind of like, what have I done? Like, what have I gotten myself into? Book 2 is a prequel sequel, so you go backwards in time and you learn the story of the heart. So you get to learn why this person is the way they are, why they do the things they do. And then in book 3, Okavis, it's kind of like plot explosion. All of these stories wrap up, new storylines emerge. It's kind of Game of Thrones-esque in the sense of like lands fighting for power, but it has a nice little fun sci-fi human twist to it. So the whole series is about forgiveness. It's about, you know, if you do a bad thing, are you a bad person? Like, there's a lot of depth to it. Crazy sci-fi. Yeah, there's a lot here. I know.
Coming up with questions, and I'm like, she's gonna be ready for this.
Very cool. So Haeman, this is the first series. Haeman's the first book ever released. Haeman's is about a futuristic addiction that takes over Russia. You follow the dark love story of a guy trying to save his fiancée from the grips of it, but she's morphed into a superhuman, as has everybody else on this drug, and she doesn't want to be saved. So it's actually a twist on the Romanov story, you know, Anastasia. So it's a twist on that. So instead of it being a beautiful princess that gets discovered, it's actually a brother and sister who are drug addicts in like an alley. So they become like famous, like the British royals, and everyone adores them. So, but they become similar thing, but they're terrible. So they manipulate the population into become these like Haemans, which are like modern day monsters.
I have so many people who have that nickname real quick. All right, so let's go back over here to the very first book. Now you said that's basically the origin for Evos that you have over here. Now, when it came to personally as Poison Ivy, where did the concept of her hearing trees, I presume, come from?
I'm a big hiker. I like love nature, so I'm always constantly like out in the mountains, like hiking. So I'm like, man, wouldn't it be so cool if trees could talk? And then it just kind of spiraled from there. Like, this is all about humans evolving into the elements. So I was like, man, I can probably tie all this together, this cool concept, with this other story. I'm like, all right, origin story, that kind of makes sense, you know? So that's how that kind of came to be. Like, man, I just wanted them to talk to me. I was like, this would be nice.
No, I think Krista would agree with you. Ferngully? Yeah, she totally would agree with you. So would Pocahontas in Colors of the Wind. So what was your longest hike? Because I've never done hiking. I've done a little bit of like rock climbing, stuff like that, but nothing major. What was your most, most interesting or adventurous hike?
Montana. I went to Glacier National Park, and I would say probably like my most impressive day was like a 20-mile day. And I started at 8 a.m., was done around like 2. So it was Pegan Pass, and I think it was Dawson Pass is the name of the hike, but gorgeous. Start in the morning, just kind of like horse up the mountain, like don't stop. So, but it's like, and I go by myself, so it's very spiritual. So it's like a nice, relaxing, kind of clears my mind. I can kind of like think about my stories or not. Like if I need a break, I can take a break. If I need time to brainstorm, it's time to brainstorm. So therapy for me.
I feel like I found my new best friend. Ralph, you've been replaced. I'm sorry. So now she discovers that she's not going crazy. So when you created this protagonist, the characters always talk to you. Since you're so deep into nature, is she based on you, or is there another character in the book that's actually more based on you unintentionally? Because we do write ourselves in our books.
Like a little bit of me lives in every single story for sure. This one is actually probably the closest to who I am. Like Juniper is the name of the main character. She's probably out of all of my stories, she's probably the closest, like overall. But then there's a little bit of me, like you've said, in every single character, every single good thing and bad thing, you know. So it kind of covers the gamut. I get to kind of dissect myself and place it around. But yeah, it's pretty close to who I am. Like, granted, the story's continuing. So in this book is probably most like me. In this one, it might diverge a little bit because her life kind of carries on in a different way that I might not be quite at yet. So, you know, but it's kind of cool to be able to kind of learn about yourself even through your writing. So
very true, very true. Now I do have to ask you, since the characters do talk to you, was there a moment that Juniper might have been mad at you? Like, why did you let that happen? Like, and what moment was that?
You know what's so funny? I actually just went back and I didn't like rewrite the book, but I just edited a little bit, and I'm like, man, there was a couple of moments where I was like, you kind of like, you know, when you write, you kind of carry on a little too much. So I just recently just trimmed him up, and like maybe she was mad at me for that, for letting that happen. Like, why didn't you edit that better the first time? So to anyone who read the older versions and thought I was rambling, I apologize. It's fine. I mean, it really wasn't a big deal, but like, you know, when you're writing, you always feel like you're growing as a writer. So like, I always go back in my books once in a while, just read through them, clean them up, just like spruce it up. Nothing too crazy. I'm not changing the story, but it is it's kind of a fun way to watch yourself evolve.
So, who's your favorite character? Because it's never the protagonist. The lead character is never the writer's favorite character. It's always like Bob from the shop or something like that. In this series here with Juniper, who's your favorite there?
Clark the Ranger. Yeah. So this is this old guy, like this old man that like she goes into the forest alone all the time. He's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yes, Dad." You know, like kind of always checking on her. So he's definitely not a main character. Yeah. I probably have someone in each of these, like exactly what you said. Some like random character that's one of my favorites, and they have not a very big role. So
yeah, that's how it works. It's always like, I like that dude. And who inspired that character? Was it like a random person who always checks up on you on the hikes, or is it like the barista at the local Starbucks?
I don't know. I think she just needed a Clark. I don't know that anyone inspired it. I think she just needed one. And like, I've noticed in my books, I write old people very well. Like anytime someone reads, they're like, man, like they're always very charming and endearing. I think it's because I like old people. I don't know.
No, I love that. Oh my God. Forget it. We're not best friends. We're going to get married. Now you said you changed the rules of magic. I mean, what's going on here? How did you change the rules? I want to know.
So maybe not change the rules, but like definitely created my own system. So there's Wiccans, which is a real thing. So Wicca magic, that's light magic. I've created Ouijan, so like a Ouija board. So now that's dark magic. So in the story, you have Wicca, which is light, and then the Ouija, which is the dark, and you gotta kind of watch them have to come together to help solve problems. So they think they are so different, but it turns out in the end they're actually not quite that different. Light's not always good and dark's not always bad. So,
And my God, okay, one, where's the inspiration for that? Two, do you know any actual Wiccans, and did you get like knowledge from them, just kind of like working with it?
I did a lot of research. So there's a lot of stuff about like crystals in this book as well. So I do know a couple people who are Wiccan, and so I definitely asked them because I didn't want to do anything offensive because I actually respect it a lot. So made sure I was doing justice. And then the Ouijans, that's just totally from my imagination, so that was completely different. So it's kind of fun to watch two opposing forces that think they're so different realize at the end, like, oh, we're actually not as different as we thought, and we can work together, and kind of another social commentary, to be honest. So like,
well, it's very true, and I'm actually really glad that because I have friends who are pagans, they're Wiccans as well, and I've had people freak out like, you know one, and I'm like, she'll turn you into a frog if you don't stop making fun of them. Like, cut it out. So I love the fact that you wrote them in a very light, humorous way, because you often find, not that I didn't love the show Salem. I thought Salem was awesome, but they were like, everyone there was practically evil. You were like, oh my God, are there any good witches besides Glinda?
No, it's definitely in a nice light, and you see, like, so what happens is it's paranormal. So there's a lot of I don't want to say the word now because now I'm going to give away the twist, but there's a nice paranormal twist in the middle. And Theodore, the main character, he kind of gets into this world he doesn't quite expect because he doesn't understand the paranormal twist in Nether Isle. And these two magic forces, very much their magic stems from this type of paranormal twist. I can't. Yeah.
Don't even read it. Oh my God, she knows her book is that good. You better be buying it while you're watching this video. Just open up the next tab to Amazon. Now, as they're sort of dealing with it, like, do you have any personal paranormal experiences that you dealt with that you may have put into the book, or maybe someone else's paranormal story?
Yeah, I've actually definitely seen dead people, I think. I mean, so my mom.
Are they on the hikes or like they're at home?
No, I've never seen one on a hike.
Like, I would never go hiking if that was the case.
No ghosts in the forest. No ghosts in the forest. No, my mom's gonna kill me, but their house is rather cluttered. So when I live with them, they say clutter attracts ghosts. So this one time I got into bed and I like shut my eyes. I'm like, I feel like this. I like opened my eyes and there was like this girl in a white dress and her face was kind of like rotted. I'm like, oh my God. So I turn over and I turn back. I'm like, she's gone. But then I talk to my brother. I'm like, Matt, because he kind of like my brother Jimmy doesn't have patience for it. My brother Matt, on the other hand, does. I'm like, yo, I think I saw a ghost. He's like, you did too? I go, wait a second, what did your ghost look like? And apparently this girl in a white dress just floated over his bed. So I'm like, we saw the same ghost. And this is like both of us, like, we're having this epiphany together. It was very weird. So yeah, I think I've seen a ghost before.
Does she make her way into the...
I should have written her. I did not write her.
Oh my God.
I should give her a backstory. I don't know what her backstory is, but my brother seems to think she was wearing my communion dress. And I'm like, that's weird.
Dude, that's not cool. That is not cool.
I was like, that was my communion dress. I'm pretty sure I'm alive. So yeah.
Oh my God. What were you thinking? I mean, obviously you turned around so quickly, but I mean, what are your thoughts when you're like, oh?
The heart kind of goes into your throat, but then you're also like, as someone who writes fantasy, it's like, I actually would like to talk to a ghost, so maybe I should chill, but then it was gone, so, you know, it's like...
Can I interview you for my next book? Hold on one second. Could you sit down? What do you need? What do you guys eat? How does this work?
Yeah, how do ghosts operate? Like, is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Like, you know, what's going on? But this is, like, more or less, like, you kind of get to see, like, a fun, imaginative twist on that whole concept, so... Very, very, very different. Like, the lighthouse on the cover plays a very big part in the story, so kind of just like as a little teaser, that kind of plays a big part into my idea of what comes later.
I like that. I love lighthouses. I only didn't like them in the Mist because that game drove me crazy. Now, when it comes to, I mean, obviously you're dealing with the hero's journey for all of them. When it comes to, I guess, developing their path, do you find that the characters are telling you more, or do you have a destination in mind as you're writing, particularly since these books seem to connect the most?
So I usually have like a point A and a point B, so I kind of know where the plot needs to go, but then the characters kind of take me there. I say sometimes my fingers have brains, so like I'm writing and like I don't really know exactly where I'm gonna go with it, and then suddenly my fingers start doing it. Granted, it's my brain, of course, but I'm just like, oh shoot, okay, I didn't realize that this is where this was gonna go. So I think they call it like a pantser, where like you sort of outline, but you also fly out by the seat of your pants as you write. So it's called a pantser.
Oh my God, I'm learning so much from her. You're awesome. I need to add you to the Bitten Apple. Dorky question: what's your favorite element?
Oh God. See, so
I can do one question to someone. I always do.
well, it's definitely between earth and water, and I'm a scuba diver, so that's like my ultimate. Like I love being underwater. Like the infinite quiet is like there's no other kind of like peace you can find on earth. So I might go with water, but I also love the forest so much. So it probably is like, what day of the week are you asking me? And then I pick water or forest. So water.
Oh my God. Ralph, drop the camera. I need you to go buy me a diamond ring real quickly. Now we're going to go over to blue spots and gray spots. Now, I think that's absolutely beautiful. Not every, a lot of times when you grow up, you just assume everyone else has had the same kind of life you have. So as a kid, it's interesting until you get to the point and you realize, oh, not everyone has those experiences. So I do think it's very important that you do have these books that teach children how to manage, their sadness, that these things are important, or dealing with the fear. And I love the fact that you chose a female to help the male deal with the fear. Equal rights, just saying.
Little girl over there. Little girl on the character in grade spot, and I purposely picked a girl because I was like, I wanted to show girl power, and sometimes the girl can save the guy. So
Actually happens a lot more than guys like to admit to. And you said the next book is going to be purple spots. I love that. I love your play on the colors. Sadness, darkness, and then accepting people for who they really are. For those who are listening, they'll go, oh, I know what they're talking about. If not, just wait till the book comes out, you'll get it. It's cool. Now we're gonna move over here. Oh my God. So
this is the one I'm currently like the most stoked about, only because I'm in the middle of writing it, and this is my high fantasy world building, like super complex read. Like besides it being sci-fi and world building, there's a lot of depth to it, which sometimes when you get these big epic adventure stories, you don't always get a lot of depth sometimes. Like you will sometimes, but sometimes it kind of gets glossed over by battle scenes and stuff like that. So here you're kind of getting a combo where it's like you have the action, you have the excitement, but you're also getting like a story about forgiveness, a story about like people, being upset with themselves, but then also learning, okay, I'm not perfect and things happen, and then learning to forgive yourself, learning to forgive other people, and realizing that people make mistakes. So I think it's a nice little message that also people need. Like people beat themselves up for years over silly stuff or for serious stuff, and even when you do something serious, like just learn how to be kind and
learn from it and grow. Now when it came to like, I mean, my God, because you have such a wonderful mind, you have no idea. I feel like I'm rewriting The Beautiful Mind, and it's like starring you. When it comes to the antagonist in these books here, what's your favorite antagonist?
So this character, the Heart, that you sort of meet in Orwell, but you don't get to really understand who the person is. She is definitely the antagonist moving forward into Okavas and actually in Orwell, but in here you get to see her backstory. So I definitely think her, because you get to see like, man, this person has gone through some shit. Like it's like not good, and you understand almost why they become the way they do. And then you also want to root for her to be like, but you don't have to be that way. So there's a whole concept of like removing your heart and like then you're heartless, but you can always put your heart back in. So.
No, I caught all that because usually men are made of stone, and you guys get really clumsy with our glass hearts.
Talk about a metaphor there. Yeah, talk about a metaphor, right? Yeah.
Because I caught that, I was like, oh, I was like, this is very interesting.
What's interesting is that the glass heart, while you think, oh, he's gonna break it, he ends up being more, I guess, damaged, even though he's made of, not to ruin anything, but like, yeah. But she ends up being way more fierce than you're kind of probably give her credit for. So that's what's very interesting about her character. She's super complex, where, you think, oh, it's fragile. Wait, it's dangerous. Wait, oh my gosh, it's broken. And then, you're like, okay, and then you kind of figure it out as you go. But
very much like fire and water. It's very beautiful, but can very much kill you very quickly. You're like, oh, okay, it's pretty, but let me just back up.
Like, you will freeze to death. Like, yeah.
Okay, and then you have here okay, so now, is Anastasia like one of your favorite like stories? Like, is it because it's a Disney princess, or is it because of the actual history behind it?
Combo of it. Like, I loved Anastasia growing up, like loved it. And then I actually had no idea of adding the Anastasia story into this story. It all started with this really weird dream that I had about people drinking their own blood and becoming like super strong and super fast and like kind of like these like superhuman monsters, right?
Doesn't work.
It's because you don't have the still of cocaine. That's why you got to take that first, but then so I'm like, okay, this is a really cool dark storyline. Where should it take place? Where is sexy and mysterious? Oh, Russia's pretty sexy and mysterious and also dangerous. I'm like, that's a great place to start. And then like,
Oh my god, you just described my Russian wife. Love you, Natalia.
there you go. And then I'm like, okay, well, great location. Then somehow the storyline popped into my head. I'm like, wow, I should totally do a twist on what everyone thinks what happens in the story. So, like I said, instead of it being a beautiful princess, it's these two drug addict siblings that go into the limelight and kind of manipulate the population to follow their lead. Just like, like everyone's obsessed with the British wedding. So just like them, everyone idolizes them, and they kind of, in their own way, convince and like put things into the water system and into the food, and everyone just sort of becomes like them. So it's really messed up. It's a social commentary on media manipulation.
Yeah, that was really deep in there. Oh my god, please, my god, get this book, my god, guys.
Very fun story though. So yeah.
So at one point, so these two, I mean, they're not what people expect. At some point, not to give it anything away if the question's okay, but everyone takes that hero's journey. So do they become heroes towards the end, or do they just they just stay straight up evil? With
the main story is, so his name's Severick and Aeronadya. So Severick is this guy that never fell victim to the idolization that everyone else did, and Aeronadya is his fiance who did fall victim. So you get to mainly follow his story of trying to save her, but then the royals discover her, and the prince falls in love with her, or maybe not falls in love, but he like kind of like chooses her, and then it becomes a very creepy and twisted and messed up scenario that comes in.
Sounds like Severick is not having a good day. Like, it's like,
bad freaking month, and then year, and then it's been a while.
So I mean, do you plan to continue? Do you also plan on doing any other similar concepts of choosing other times of history, whether it's an Irish princess, whether it's, I don't know, from someone from Brazil?
Going back to Nether Isle, actually, again, without giving too much away, there's a lot of characters at the end of the book, and I don't want to give it away because she's reading it right now. So, but there's a lot of characters that come in at the end of the book that are like Indian princesses or like Latin American like heroines and stuff. So that I could eventually do spin-off stories for, and then show there, and I can make my own alternative history for what they actually went through, and it all is paranormal still. So keep that in mind.
Oh my god, you really do have such a beautiful mind. She just gave me like so many books. 4 of these over here connected, then turned around and gave me a completely different kind of storyline. Everything has real depth and a lot of layers to it, which is really important when you're writing a book, because when I read a book, I want to be able to feel like I can relate to a character. I want to be able to pick out whoever, like, that's me, and I feel like I'm going through that, and I want to feel like I've learned something or I've experienced something without having to go through the heartache personally myself, but I can live it through my characters.
And you can resonate. So it's like if you see a character going through something, and whether you've been through it or you feel like you're going through it, or like you feel like you could have almost gone through it in a scenario, it's like, oh, I've been there, and then you don't feel alone.
God, you are so freaking awesome. You obviously love mythology. Do you have
Yeah, in all these books, it's funny. Sometimes I find myself looking up like Greek mythology, Nordic mythology, and like what I'll do is like I won't necessarily make it Greek mythology, but I'll do like little twists on it. So like in the Orwell series, there's tons of these like sea monsters that eventually kind of come into play, and there's a lot of play on the Greek mythology for that. Evo, same thing, which it's like futuristic, so it's not really Greek. It's like in the future, but they still have some elements that kind of play into it, and
I'm pretty sure that's realistic. There are some moments and I'm like, I don't think they're all gone. I'm pretty sure they're here.
Yeah. Oh, they're here. They're just very deep in the ocean, or they're so evolved we can't see them anymore.
Oh my. Being the fact that you like sci-fi and fantasy, do you have any favorite shows?
Oh gosh, I'm a huge so I started writing because I loved reading. So like I just ate up books on my Kindle nonstop, and then eventually was like, I feel like I could write some stories. So now here I am. Now it's been kind of tough for me to I have so many stories in my head that I try to read books and I get a little bit distracted. So I've become I get my stories through TV series now, and which might not be ideal, but it's still, you can still get like a great storyline. So
you can be inspired by anything. As a writer, you're inspired by everything around you. So.
music, TV shows, artwork. I see like a beautiful painting, and that will sometimes inspire a story. But yeah, I like. I'm trying to think of what I just finished. I just watched Westworld, the second season, but I'm like, well, we don't need to talk about that. I didn't like it too much.
Next.
Some ones I really liked. I liked Man in the High Castle. That's on Amazon Prime. I think it's High Castle, maybe High Tower. And it's alternative history about if Hitler had won the war. So basically we have to see America is owned by Germany. And it's like kind of terrifying, but it's very fascinating as well. So that was really interesting from like just like a fantasy twist type of scenario. I loved like Vikings and like Sons of Anarchy. So like while I was writing Christette, I was actually watching Vikings, and then it's kind of cool to be like, man, like look at they're ruthless, right? I'm like, man. Then I was thinking, oh, these like little glass children are like little ruthless Vikings, you know? So like sometimes you can kind of correlate certain things where it's like I got like an inspiration to write these like, but they're kids in this case, you know? So it was just like an interesting little play on it. So little things like that. But Netflix, HBO.
Oh my God, she's so much fun. How do you have time to write? You've got to be so much fun. Oh my God, I'd hang out with you every minute. Like, can I come over?
Yeah, I found a way to make my life that this is my full time, and then like I'll have a part time job as well. But like I focus on this when I wake up till about like 4 or 5 p.m. So, but I didn't for a while. Like I did the 9 to 5 usual. So sometimes like if you have a passion, you just gotta like suck it up for a little bit, get to where you need to be, and then make the jump and the switch and the leap. So when I officially quit my office job, it was like a huge leap of faith. I'm like, please work out. And then it's been fine. So it's been good.
Okay, now I have to ask a quick question. So for office work, has anything crazy that ever happened at that office job ended up in your stories where you're like, oh, that's that dude who's always by the water cooler. He's going in here.
I have to say, I don't have actually any characters. Like I said, there's pieces of me in every character, and there might be pieces of people in characters, but I don't have any character that's actually like based off a person. Maybe one day. Like I bartend now, so like I'm sure I'll have a regular at some point that ends up in a story. I don't now, but like
you're a bartender?
So I bartend as well.
Oh my God, we gotta go to her bar. We're just gonna find any way we can hang out with her. And as a bartender, I know you must meet some interesting characters.
Characters, yeah. And it is like I said, like it's not always that you have a character based off someone, but like someone's weird quirk can totally end up in a character's personality, because then it's like it just enhances whatever I'm trying to build for them. You know what I mean? So it's like you can definitely I just find it's better to put little pieces of people versus an entire person. Yeah.
Do you play video games?
No, I tried Sims when I was younger. I just like building houses. I didn't like really playing the game. House, next house.
I feel like you'd like RPGs. That's why I had to ask, because your books sound like RPGs, role-playing games like Final Fantasy, Fable, Elder.
Yeah, I think like I'm sure I would enjoy it if I ever tried it. I just don't know if I have time, just because it's like I feel like I'm role playing when I'm writing my books, so I don't know if I have time to also do it.
No, this is D&D. This is all of it. I feel like Xbox and PlayStation could make this into a video game. That would be great. Because I'm an RPG girl, so that would be right up my alley. I'm like, yeah, I read it and I have the game.
That'd be really cool. I never even thought. I'm always like, yeah, like a series or a movie, that'd be so cool. But like a game would be so awesome as well.
Video game, TV shows, you guys, come on, hurry up. So for those who are obviously in love with you as much as I am, where they're like, where can I find her? I need some Evans in my life. And they're like, yeah, you know, where can they go?
Amazon is like the main place to get the books. So all the books are paperback and Kindle on Amazon. And then I have obviously social media. So like I have an adventure author page on Instagram. So not only will you get to see my events and stuff that I do, but I just got back from Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado. So I'm posting tons of pictures, poetry attached. So I write like new poems that go along with the pictures. So that's always nice too, because then you kind of switch it up. People get to see new content from you versus just the same picture of a book all the time, you know. So I try to keep it interesting. So the Instagram, Amazon, I have a Facebook page. Facebook's a little crazy with their algorithm, so I post when I can.
Just connect your Instagram to your Facebook. It'll save you so much of trouble.
It really does. I know. Yeah, I should just do that. Technology, you know.
Well, when you live in a world of magic, you just think technology is not up to par. To be honest, in my head, I live in magic world, and I'm just like, can I just click that, and it'll happen. Done exactly.
Yeah. I'm like what?
It's been Nicoline. It's been absolute pleasure. Just finding out about all of these books, and they genuinely have something different to them. That's what I really love. You have, the protagonist is a male, then we have a female. You're touching base on everything, and then you're touching the hearts of kids. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, the kids' books are so special to me. Like Blue Spots, I wrote as a kid's book for myself. So I think I was 24 when I wrote it. I'm like, just basically, yeah. So like, it's just a message I wish I had as a kid. So it was nice. And then Fiend, so the story's about sadness and learning you're strong enough to get through tough times. So when I found Fiend, I kind of described her as like whimsical Tim Burton. She has such a cool style, and it's perfect for kids because you're getting that like spooky vibe, but it's not scary. You know what I mean? So like you're still getting, and then the kids see the pictures and they're beautiful paintings. So you're not getting kiddie art. You're getting a beautiful, gorgeous painting with like a nice meaning. So they're not feeling like they're reading a kid book. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, you're just describing as a child like cute but very creepy. Like I really didn't.
Too, so
It was just a little too quiet. They're like, she's smart, but I don't know what to do with this thing. And I'm like,
yeah, that's so funny.
And my
Creepy. That's the best way to be.
because that's only because my role models were like Madeline and like little Audrey. And I was like, oh, I can do those things too. Make sure you guys check out all of her books. Please get all of the series. Even if you're an adult, get the kids book. Because we all have kids' hearts underneath it all. You've been an absolute pleasure. I am just very, very happy to be here. And I could have sworn a little birdie mentioned poetry book.
The Darkest Garden, which was not on my little display. This is my poetry book. This is a kind of like I don't know about self-discovery, but it's definitely like starts off like depression, heartache, kind of like going through it. So you get to really feel it, and you like through it. This is obviously my most personal book. So through it, like through nature, you kind of find yourself, you kind of figure it out, and you kind of realize like you'll be okay, and like becoming stronger for it. So this one took me a very long time to get the courage to release, because I had a lot of these poems are old. I like definitely like revamped them so that they were a little bit cleaner than what I had like in my journals. But I was terrified. So I did it, and it's like, I think it's a nice little testament to like, sometimes when you put it out there, like what I mentioned before about the characters is like, it's scary, but then you're definitely going to help someone. Like someone else is going to have the depression or have anxiety, and they're going to think they're alone, and they're going to read this poem, and it might be really dark and scary, but they're like, this is how I feel. And she felt this way, and I'm not alone, and I'll be okay, and she's okay. And so then it's just kind of a nice way to like keep people holding on to hope, I think. So even through the sad stuff, like I love sad poems, I don't know, I just love them because it makes me feel like, okay, we all have feelings and we feel these things, and it's okay that we feel a little cute and creepy sometimes, like it's okay to be a little creepy sometimes, like, so makes us human. So this is the poetry book.
That's extremely true, because sometimes even when you are going through your darkest moments, you forget that there are other people around. You're like, oh, you have sad stuff too. Please make sure you guys go out and get these books. They're beautiful books. The covers are gorgeous. I mean, you're getting a kid's book that's not just your regular kid's book. There's actually beautiful paintings in there. And come on, look how cute she is. How could you say no? Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Hey guys, this is CADMA from Bitten Apple TV, and we are here at Garden State Comic Fest, and I have to ask, Bane Dad, have you gotten the chance to enter our contest for Clip Kick?
Of course, I love contests. I usually win them all. When I heard Clip Kick was sending one, I got on right away because it's a great way for me to showcase my best videos.
I love that. It's very true. Now, for you guys who are new, you're guys like, what is Clip Kick? Clip Kick is a very simple app. It allows you to save any video online. I'm talking YouTube, Facebook. No, it's okay, Bane Dad. Don't worry. He's excited.
I can't help myself. It's so cool.
Any link, as long as it is online, you can actually save it in one location.
It's amazing. It's easy. I am very smart, but even the dumbest of my workers at the League of Shadows could figure it out. And he put some stupid videos up of his dog, but it was fine. It was cool. It's easy, and it's fun, and it's quite convenient.
It really is. Now, here's the best part about entering the contest. For your weekend, you get 2 tickets to Ripley's Believe It or Not at Times Square, 2 tickets to Broadway show Aladdin. You also get Toy Fair exclusive from Mezco Toys Collectibles Batman figure. Now, there's only 100 of them.
Batman?
Yes, we're working on it. We're working on it.
That's all right. My kids sort of like Batman, but don't tell them I said that. Back to you, CADMA.
Listen, as Ivy, I'm not too crazy about the guy either. I got it. He's always beating up Halls.
Very true.
So just so you guys know, and you also get Bitten Apple TV swag. You can't miss this for the world. Make sure you guys download the app and enter our contest. Follow Bitten Apple TV, and if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find our commercial there with our intern Nathan, and you'll get to add the video there yourselves. Anything you'd like to add?
I'm going to win the contest, so... No, I'm kidding. Challenge me. Let's go. Bring it.
That seems like a very big... look. Yes, Nathan.
Nathan!
I'm the intern.
But he still deserves our respect. He's a part of...
Dad.
The best dad ever.
I'm not above giving a hug. Bane Dad gives hugs.
Bye.